the first day faculty development program, which is being organized by the Faculty Improvement Committee, Tamil Nadu National Law University. The afternoon session, the talk will be delivered by Dr. Senthilnathan sir. So before giving a small introduction about our today's resource person, Dr. Senthilnathan sir, it is my immense pleasure and I am duty bound to welcome all the participants who are participating from various institutions across the country. Dr. Senthilnathan sir has completed his MA English, MA Journalism and Mass Communication, M.Ed and Doctor of Philosophy. His area of interest and specialization are educational technology, ICT in education, e-learning, educational multimedia, e-content development, English language teaching. Sir has contributed as a member of the working group to the successful completion of UNESCO's assignment on learning to learn English with information and communication technology. Sir has also served as consultant to Commonwealth of Learning, COL, Canada for offering training in open and distance learning materials development in Bangladesh, and has also served as a member, Board of Management, Educational Multimedia Resource Center, Madurai Kamarajar University, serving as an expert committee of Bharatiyar, Bharadasan University, Anna University, Madurai Kamarajar University, Tamil University, Tamil Nadu Teachers Education, Rani Chennamma, Mother Teresa Women's Karnataka University, Vikrama Simpuri, and Calicut Universities and National Council for Teacher Education. And the list is going on. Sir has interest area conducting and guiding research into various aspects of educational technology in ICT education. So far, Sir has guided 8 PhD scholars, and currently Sir is guiding 5 PhD scholars, guided 35 MPhil scholars, and currently doing 10 MPhil scholars. Sir has membership in editorial board such as the Research and Reflection on Education Journal, that is UGC Care listed journal, and Sir has published a number of research and popular articles on various dimensions and aspects of technology enabled learning in journals and magazines of national and international reputation. Particularly, Sir has published 42 articles in international journals and 26 articles in national journals. Sir has also published 2 books titled Reciprocal Teaching of Reading and EST Curriculum Development Principles and Practice. Apart from that, Sir has presented various papers and delivered guest lectures in many national, international conferences, seminars, symposia, and workshops. The major research project which is done by our today's resource person is the impactful policy research in social science, IM Press grants for rupees 10 lakhs. And also, Sir has projected in a 2 UGC funding agency. Sir has visited Singapore, Malaysia, and Bangladesh. And the rest of the things is also going on, so it will take much more time. So with this small introduction, now I wholeheartedly on behalf of Faculty Improvement Development Committee and on behalf of Tamil Nadu National Law University, I welcome our today's resource person. Over to you, sir. Welcome, sir.
Thank you very much, sir. Distinguished Chairman of the Faculty Development Committee, Professor Amrithalingam sir, and Dr. Nirmal and other friends at Tamil Nadu National Law University. And most importantly, the bread and butter of the faculty development program, the participants drawn from different law schools. A very good afternoon to every one of you. Am I audible clearly, sir? Can anyone unmute and tell me?
Yes, sir, you are audible, sir.
You are very well audible.
Fine, right, okay. Okay, keeping in mind the data, actually I'm connected in a different place. So I would just stop the video and of course I would then and there turn it on also, right? Because if it is a wired connection from my office, it would be different. But now actually I'm altogether different place, right? Okay. So I'm very happy that the National Law University of Tamil Nadu is organizing the faculty development program, because any growing institution has to focus on teacher development. you know, we have seen many institutions who are ready to invest huge sums of money for development of infrastructure, for development of many features, technologies, gadgets, facilities. But I think all these investments would miserably fail if there is no proper investment for teacher development, because ultimately it is the classroom teacher who makes the difference. And I'm very happy that the Tamil Nadu National Law University is focused on developing teacher competences to with some deeper insights into the recent developments, advances, and the repositioned roles that 21st century teachers have to play in this context. I'm very happy that it's being done. And in fact, the institution being located at Trichy and very near to our constituent college, we have had a lot of interactions. And Madam Vice Chancellor has participated in a couple of our programs to deliver inaugural addresses. And I've also visited the Law University Tamil Nadu for some training program earlier for its in-house training of the teachers. But now it is from different institutions, the participants have been drawn. It's a pleasure to know that. And I'm very happy that the course content also has been well chosen and thematically structured. So I think the entire day has been devoted for one thing or the other related to technology integration today. And you're going to have the other frontier areas of focus in the upcoming days. And in this direction, I'm very happy to represent the Department of Educational Technology, Bharatidasan University, which is the first Department of Educational Technology in the entire country. So is my screen being shared?
Sir, it is, sir.
Yes, sir. Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir. Fine. Right. Okay. So, in the next 1 hour and 50 minutes or so, what I intend to do is to take you to the concept of digital learning and discuss it from the point of view of technology pedagogy integration and the use of open educational resources. What is often abbreviated as OER in all capitals is the open educational resources. In fact, for my faculty development programs, I invite people from Law University like Dr. Mahendra Prabhu for giving some inputs on copyright, IPR, and things related to the open content license and other things. But here I am not going to analytically look into those aspects of it, but I will be looking at the OER initiatives, which you and I as classroom teachers can tap for the benefit of enhancing our students' learning. So this is what is the plan of action. So two broader perspectives from which we are going to look at this digital learning. One is technological pedagogical integration, techno pedagogical integration, and the other one is OER. And I hope all of you see a small asterisk mark with the title that is there on the screen. Can anyone unmute and tell me what it stands for? What does this small asterisk and a
Subject to
star
terms
mark?
and conditions, sir.
Yes, exactly, sir. So Nirmal Singh, so no, in fact, this is something that I need not put a question here because you're all lawyers. So you know very well what it what it means. So whenever you have these terms and conditions apply, so it implies many things. And this is something which we see day in and day out, right? But this is a little different TNC apply here. So what I intend to communicate to you at the very beginning is there are three things broadly I would like to mention before we get into the discussion on the different aspects and dimensions of digital learning. One, when we talk about the powers of technologies in enhancing learning, in maximizing learning, in ensuring better learning outcomes, by no means we underestimate the role of a human teacher in the education system. So the first point that I would like to impress upon all of you is that, see, when we talk about all these technology pedagogy integration, By no means I am here to say something like technologies are superior and teachers are inferior, and technologies are more important and teachers are less important in the context of education. No, a very firm no, a very emphatic no, because of the firm belief that a teacher can never be replaced by any technology whatsoever, let it be even after 100 years or 150 years. That is the first point. And the second thing is, as I told you already, when we talk about digital learning, we may have to essentially talk about certain gadgets, technologies, platforms, and applications. Right? These are all integral components of the digital education system. So when we talk about e-learning platforms, learning management systems, animation platforms, simulation, mobile apps, and whatnot, all these gadgets, technologies, and services, we don't look at any of these things as a kind of a replacement for the human teacher. This is why I was making an observation earlier. There is nothing like technology replacing the teachers, but in the context of the post-pandemic environment of teaching, learning, and evaluation. In fact, we are not sure whether we are still in pandemic or post-pandemic situation. But in spite of that, in these contexts of learning from home, which is emerging as a big concept. You see, till yesterday, at least for 10th, 11th, and 12th standards in Tamil Nadu, it was face-to-face class. Yesterday evening, it was announced that till 31st, they will go online. So the concept that is emerging today is either learning from home, LFH, like WFH, work from home. It is now LFH, and blended learning. You see, blended learning is a kind of a option's choice now. We are left with no other option. For instance, we were in online mode, and when there was a kind of a relaxed environment. So I know many schools, almost 90% of the schools, at least for the higher secondary classes, almost 90% of the colleges, at least for the final year students, are science batch students, where there are some practicals essentially to be conducted. They switched over to offline mode, face-to-face mode. And then suddenly the Omicron variant, some other variant came in, and then it is expected that the spread is 3 times, 4 times faster and more significant. Suddenly again, now it is all lockdown and closure of institutions. We are back to our online. So like that, you see, we keep blending right from offline online modes, not because we want to do that, but situation warrants. Right, that is how it is. You see, when I know a school in Trichy which almost turned 100% face to face, and within 4 days there were some students who developed some symptoms, and suddenly they said, yes, for 1 week we are closing for sanitization, so let us move to online. Then after a week of closure, they reopened. Then after 15 days, again, there were some cases identified. Immediately, they went back to offline. So you see, this type of a blend is something that the situation warrants now. That is why the government of India now has come up with an approach paper to blended learning in India in the post-pandemic environment. At least for next 2-3 years, probably the government thinks that we may have to switch from online to offline here and there. So maybe in certain segments, in one places it is like that, in other places it is offline mode. We cannot have a complete, what to say, a kind of a global or a national level perspective. Maybe in a few states it will be online mode, in a few other states it will be offline mode, and it may turn vice versa. So we may have to blend, right? That's the condition. So in this context of learning from home, in this context of blended mode of education, that's mixed models, what is important here is not the discussion, not comparison like teacher versus technology. These days are gone. The days on which we discussed the comparisons like a teacher versus technology. Today, it is more like a teacher with the technology versus a teacher without technology. That is what is the comparison. A teacher who accepts technology into the professional work. Professional work here is all about teaching, facilitating learning, conducting tests, evaluation, some administrative works related to your students' records, information, data, right, all these things. And this is how we look at. So a teacher who integrates technology or who accepts technology into the professional work versus a teacher who rejects technology from all these works. Now, why I repeatedly say this professional work is because one of the reports, it's a kind of a survey conducted by Commonwealth Educational Media Center for Asia, SEMCA. It's a Commonwealth Educational Media Center for Asia. It says that more than 60 to 65% of the higher education teachers in India have accepted different technologies for their personal lives, for their personal communication, personal banking, personal entertainment. But when it comes to the work of the professional work of teaching, facilitating learning, conducting tests online, using some mobile apps for tests, all these questions are put and it does not happen. And reasons are many. Maybe the teachers look at the other way. Teachers may think that, institution doesn't provide me the facilities, or the technical support is not there, or we are not motivated to use this. Probably our management says, you go ahead with your chalk and talk, right? Go ahead with your syllabus completion, stick on to the academic calendar, don't innovate, don't experiment. Maybe, yeah, there may be reasons many, but still, this is the condition. Okay? So that is what I would like to impress upon you, that you see, it is not the question of teacher versus technology, but it is a question of teacher with the technology versus a teacher without technology. No doubt, very much in our Indian education system, very sooner, teachers without technology are going to be replaced by teachers with technologies. Because the National Education Policy 2020 talks so much about technology integration. If you go to section 3, subsection 23, there is a special uh, focus on use and integration of information and communication technologies. There is so much that's being talked about. How the nation is going to have something like Educational Technology Alliance, National Alliance for Education Technology, and how it is going to be large scale training of teachers in all these ICT skills, techno pedagogical competences, and how it is going to be blended more, and how it is going to be Swayam portal going to take up a lead role in providing online education, and how Swayam in the next 15 years is going to emerge as a virtual university. There is so much of talk. So as such, what I would like to point out here is that there is no way that any aspect of education can escape technology integration. And in the whole game of education, it is the teacher, it is the teaching, learning, is evaluation, which is the bread and butter of the whole game. So there is no way teachers are avoided in terms of technology. Use of teaching and learning does not happen without technology. So that is the objective. And the third thing that I want to tell you is that, you see, when we talk about all these media platforms, social media tools, mobile apps, multimedia tools, and other things, no doubt, all these things have some negative aspects attached to them. So I'm not here to present a kind of a rosy picture to you, speaking all good things about technologies and not mentioning those negative aspects. I did not do that, because even if I attempt to do that, you will easily see through that, because this fellow seems to be talking more like a lawyer arguing for his case, right? Okay, that is the thing that you will develop. But you see, it is more being judged. It is more being like a judge saying what is right and what's wrong. That's how I would say. And any teacher, as individuals, we are doing that. You see, we try a tool, we try a particular technology, and after some time we say, hey, that's not so good, yeah, right? We'll go for this tool, right? For at least in our personal entertainment, personal communication, we do that. So when somebody is asking, see, you bought a Samsung phone last year, is it good for that? You see, now, that was okay for that time, but battery was not so good, and some of the apps that support, they're not supported. So better you go for this Redmi, or you go for this one. Why not you go for an Apple phone? This will be better. No, that's how it is. We do make judgments about all these technologies, right? So all that I would like to tell you is that there are some negative aspects attached with all these tools, technologies, gadgets, and services. And I would always say that if you go and deeply analyze, there is no tool which the humanity has ever developed which doesn't have negative side to it. You can just do even travel back 1,000 years, right? From the earliest tool the human beings have ever developed for their communication to the latest ones. Every tool has its own pluses and minuses, right? There is no tool which doesn't have negative side. A matchbox can burn down a whole house, and the same matchbox can brighten up a room by lighting a lamp or a candle. So that way, we don't stop using a matchbox because it has some negative aspects. We don't advise people also not to use it, right? We tell them how to use it. Hey, this is fire here, you have to handle it very carefully, and these are the precautions you have to take, this and that. Then, so this is something that I would like. These are three important things that I would like to share with you before we get into the discussion. And you see, the discussion shall be more focused on how do we make the learning process more interactive, more participatory, more engaging, more meaningful, more joyful with technologies which are readily available to us for 24/7 access, and with resources, media, which are available to us free of cost. So there are three things I have talked about. One is, in the particular sentence I completed, one is how do we make the learning process more interactive? So it is not the teaching practice. Okay, it is the practice of learning. You know why I say that is because, you see, whenever we talk about educational technology, or whenever we talk about ICT, information and communication technologies in education, see, learning comes to the foreground and learning becomes more important. And of course, teaching does not become less important, but teaching and teacher go to the back end and they start playing their role from there. That is why we always have expressions like online learning, virtual learning, mobile learning, web-based learning. Often we don't see expressions like web-based teaching, mobile teaching, right? More predominant usage is mobile learning, online learning, virtual learning, web-based learning. Okay. So it is learning that's important. It is the learner that is important. That is why I said, how do we make our learning process more interactive, participatory, and engaging? And the second thing I said was, how do we get this more interactivity, more participation, more engagement levels with technologies which are available to us for 24/7 access readily? So, so these technologies maybe in the after about the second half, maybe 2:15 onwards, I may go for some screenshots and some demos. So it should not be taken the other way. Like, you know, I am from educational technology, so it is possible for me to do all this. No, it is not like that. Wherever you are, however remotely you are placed, it doesn't matter. If at all there is an internet connectivity, these technologies are available to you for 24/7 access. Right? Anytime, anywhere you can access these technologies. And the important thing is, as much as you can access these technologies, that much the students can also access. Okay? So that is the important thing that we should understand. So the third thing I mentioned was, how do we get more interactive, more participatory, more engaging learning experiences with the media, with tools, and with content which are readily available to us free of cost. So I'm going to speak about again OER, the Open Educational Resources. As most of you could easily guess, the word open in OER, Open Educational Resources, it stands for those electronic digital contents, let it be in the form of text, or let it be in the form of audios, videos, or graphics, or animation, or tools, or software. All these things are basically coming to you free of cost. No money is involved. Just get in, download, or use the service, and then get out. Right? So no questions asked, because there is nobody who holds ownership of all these things. In open content, nobody is an owner, everybody is an owner. When the content comes with an open license, it becomes everybody's content. So that is why I said, how do we get it happen with content, media, resources, tools which are available to you for free access. And I would like to tell you before I go further, these words are important: interactivity, participation, engagement. These are all very, very important even in face-to-face mode of class, though not online mode. Because, for instance, if Professor Nirmal Singh is going to deliver a class for about 40 students, right, for a 1 hour, the job expected of Dr. Nirmal is that he would interact with the 40 minds in the given 1 hour, because he is going there to the class not to talk to 40 human bodies, but to keep interacting with the 40 minds, because what he has in front of him is young, dynamic, vibrant minds, and 1 hour is given to him, and his job is to interact with the human minds, right? And the question is whether it is possible for all teachers to be interactive with all the students all the time, right? That is a big question. Okay, so that is where we will talk about certain technologies in the due course, the so-called second generation web technologies, Web 2.0, which is all about highest level of interactivity. We will see that a little later, the due course. Participation. You see, without participation, there is no learning. See, this FDP, which you have started today, there are two ways in which you can deal with it. One is you can attend it. The other one is you can participate in it. I hope all of you are participating, and you would continue to participate in the sessions, because participation means concentration, reflection, taking home something from it, right? No, that is what is important. That is why I think Professor Amruthalingam sir would give you a participation certificate at the end. Okay, at least an e-certificate, right? Because it is expected that participation will lead to learning, and there is no learning without students' participation. Then you do a small analysis. Maybe in your classroom, I'll just give an example. Just in the case of an opening of the reopening, after the reopening, maybe at least while walking from classroom to staff room, you try to do a small analysis in one class. How many of the students in today's class were participating in the learning process that I was leading? Just put an analysis to you. See, you are the leader. You are the leader of the learning process. So you are leading the show there. But how many of you participated in the learning process which you initiated? Whether everyone was traveling with you in the learning process, or were there some people during some moments stand disconnected from you? You can do a small analysis with how many students you did not have eye contact at least 4 times in a 1 hour session. No doubt that they were disconnected. Okay, a simple calculation you can do is, in a 1 hour session, if there are 40 students, at least 4 times eye to eye, if you have not seen, if you have not established eye contact, no doubt they have either they were of the reasons may be many. The reasons may be physiological, psychological, or related to cognitive. It can be anything, but still the question is the participation level was down. There are also other things like STT and TTT, right? Teacher talking time and student talking time, right? And any class can be rated as high in participation if the STT is at least equal to that of TTT. Okay, but in most of the classes where the teacher-dominated classrooms, where it is the teacher who talks and talks, right? Participation level goes to the lowest. That's all. And when we talk about engagement, right, levels of engagement, see, the word engagement is a very important word in the field of pedagogical sciences, psychology, media, uh, films, film appreciation, and communication studies, because these fields are primarily working with the objective of engaging human minds and emotions. Because when you go to a film, the objective of the filmmaker is to keep you engrossed in the film frame by frame, right? So the ways in which they design the screens, they write the screenplay, they put the screenshots, right? The purpose is to make you glued to the screen, and that happens. in spite of all our PhD, all our analysis, all our intelligence levels, I think in the theater, when the lights are turned off, all our intelligence research goes off, right? We start believing what is happening on the screen as a reality, and we become one with the screen, and everyone stays glued to the screen, not for 1 hour or 45 minutes like our classrooms, but for 2 hours, 2 hours plus. And what we have is very adult, matured mind sitting opposite to the screen. But the screen keeps everyone glued, everyone engaged, right? First frame to last frame. And whenever there is a sad scene, right, people wipe their tears without their neighbor's knowledge. Why? Because they become one with the screen and they forget the fact that it is imaginary, it is fictitious, right? So you see, the whole idea of digital learning with a lot of multimedia, animation, graphics, embedded video contents today in India, I'm talking, is basic question is this: why the very same digital technologies which give people better entertainment experience in the theater, why they cannot give better learning to our students in the class or off the class? That is the question that has resulted in a very huge digital education system in our country. You see, if I give you some statistics, you may not even believe. Today, our digital education systems of India is almost around 55,000 crores of money. Nearly 55 to 60,000 crores of money we have pumped into the system, creating ICT infrastructure, creating e-modules, open educational resources, digital libraries, right? Plenty other things we have done. And we have spent so much of money for that. And because the digital learning is a priority, is an area of focus under DII, Digital India Initiatives. It is because of that we have got so much of funding allotted to it. And in fact, in the implementation stages of national education policy, it is going to be more money, more fund allocation, because we are going to ensure a complete model of education where the learner will have the liberty to choose, right, from a wide array of learning opportunities. If the student chooses to learn through an LMS at home, yes, it will be made available. If the student chooses learning on the go with his mobile apps, mobile devices, yes, facilities will be provided, right? And if the learner chooses to get all his video contents into this inbox, and no doubt he will be given that freedom. And examination on demand, we say, like video on demand, right? Whenever the student completes the module and whenever he or she feels like taking the test, examinations will be provided on demand through online portals, right? There is so much that's being talked about. I'll talk about that, a couple of things in the due course also. So that is the way it's happening. And by now, I'm sure you have already gotten a fair idea of what is this technology pedagogy integration all about, right? It's very simply put, it is the art and science of incorporating a variety of digital technologies. See, when we use the word pedagogy alone, it refers to the art of teaching and science of learning. There are two dimensions. One is the art of teaching, and the other one is science of learning. Because learning is considered a science, because there is so much of work that has happened in educational psychology. To a greater extent, very, very uh, great things have been unearthed by a lot of research, right, as to why a student is learning mathematics better, why a particular student is not learning English grammar very fast. Like that, there have been a lot of research that has found out, and lots of learning theories, lots of models. That's how it is why it's called as science of learning. And teaching remains an art, because you see, teaching is something that requires a lot of intelligence, creativity blend. And you see, sometimes you see the same content or the same unit of study being delivered by one teacher, and a student do not understand, and next batch some other teacher handles the same subject, same unit or same course Everybody is very clearly answered. So you see, it is the intelligence and creativity of the teacher that leads to better learning on the part of the student. That is how we discuss pedagogy. But when we talk about techno pedagogy, it is the art and science both, I'll say, because when we talk about technology, it is all the applications of science. The end of all scientific applications is the technologies, then no doubt. But why we say art, which is all about creativity, creative thinking, because even for utilizing technologies for human conveniences, I think some creativity is required. Without creative thinking, I don't think technologies can be better applied for human convenience. For instance, when I say maybe when Apple developed its Android platform way back, very in its very formative times, probably the entire team at Apple, they would not have thought that somebody in Tamil Nadu, somebody in Trichy, is going to use this Android platform to place an order for a pizza or a burger or a dosa or vada over Swiggy or Uber Eats or some other food delivery platforms. But you see, it is the creative thinking on the part of the teams. They developed the food app, food delivery app, or call taxi app, right? You know, the apps that they have developed. Because, you know, Android as such is a platform which gives scope for all such creative applications, right? That's creative apps developed. So when we say it is art and science of incorporating a variety of digital technologies, what I would mean here is, again, a wide array of technologies, starting from radio to television to video to graphics, animation, multimedia, and whatnot, artificial intelligence, virtual reality, right, and many things. And all these things integrating into education. Why? Because the job expected of 21st century teachers is to design learning experiences. You see, I hope you remember, I was making this use of this expression earlier also. Why the digital technologies which give better entertainment experiences in the theater, why they cannot give better learning experiences? Because you see, the learning experience is very important. It is with the learning experiences, I think, that an institution can distinguish itself, right? See, a student can choose between a law college, a private law college, and a national law university for doing his law course, law program. But you know why there is so much of rush for a national law university, let it be Nalsar or any other such school? Why? Because you see, it is expected that a national law university would give better learning experiences compared with a private law college. So it is that belief. So what distinguishes an institution is the learning experience. That is why in your NAAC assessment, if you go deep into it, you know, they give maximum score to criterion 1 and criterion 2. And in all the metrics, they're asking a question to you, right? What are the distinctive features of the teaching learning process? Student support systems, right? Everything. So how do you distinguish your institution from other similar institutions? Okay. So where you can distinguish, it is in terms of designing learning experiences. That is where the importance of curriculum designing, right? That also comes in. Right? And there are two minor objectives also in using the technologies. One is enriching the learning process, and the other one is ensuring the learning outcomes. No doubt all of us know a little about OBE, outcome based education, because all of us are into the CO writing, PO, PSO, CO, PO mapping, all these metrics, graduate attributes, all these things we do. But no doubt learning outcomes are important in education. But in education, we cannot be focused only on outcomes, because the learning process also is important. It is not only what he or she learns that is important, but also how he or she learns it is important. Okay? That is why we say it is both the learning processes and learning outcomes which are important. Okay? So In this context, you see, when we look at this 21st century, I think all of us know that in this 21 is not just viewed as a number. It is a big concept now, because you see, the movement, the transition from 19th to 20th century compared with 20th to 21st century is something viewed as very, very phenomenally different. We look at this 21st century as a big concept, as I told you, and we do have expressions like 21st century education, 21st century agriculture, 21st century banking, 21st century medicine, right? Like that. But you see, these are some of the terms that go with 21st century, which are self-explanatory. I think you can get to know that very meaning, very at the very look of it. Why is it a computer era? Why is it a computer age? Because it's all computers everywhere in one form or the other. Now, if there are some 30 people here in this meet, all of us are sitting with a tablet PC or a mobile or a laptop or a desktop PC. So it's all computers, right? And those of you who are connected on your laptop or desktops, no doubt you have your smartphone with you on the table. So that means you are sitting with two computers, one your laptop and the other one your Android smartphone, because it is your Android smartphone can be much more than a desktop PC, much more than a laptop PC today, because it can outperform in many ways. And we call this 21st century as an information era. Why is it called an information era? Right? Because of the simple reason that this is a world literally flooded with information. 24/7, there is so much of information flow happening. And we all know that this is pandemic time, and earlier we had still more serious times, lockdown 1.0, 2.0, right? There we were dying for information. We know that, right? We were, and information was flowing like anything, unlimited information, 24/7 at unlimited speed was available to you. Which hospital is running out of remdesivir, where the beds are available, where how many new cases, how many new deaths, right? Where is it becoming a community spread, right? There is so much of information. Of course, misinformation and disinformation was also there, no doubt, right? Okay, and very recently there was a big this scam related to the big pharma companies, right? What is happening? There are so many things which are of interest for professionals from law like you, right? But I'm just restricting myself to this part. This is a world literally flooded with information. And there are two dimensions to information flow. One is the volume of information, which is very, very high, unprecedented in the human history. And at the same time, the speed of information flow. Never in the human past, such high speed information flow people experienced. Now we are experiencing that. Okay? And we call this 21st century as a knowledge era. I'm not going deep into it, because for want of time, I'm just excluding that. But at the same time, I would like to request you to read something about this, and don't worry, just give in Google search something like 21st century learning as a keyword. 21st century learning as a keyword in Google search. And you're going to get a lot of literature, a lot of PDFs, PPTs, videos you're going to get. And I think even if you will be alive till the end of the 21st century, you cannot complete reading and watching them. Such a lot of contents are available. Such a lot of work has happened on the concepts of 21st century learning. And there is one interesting document you can come across, that is, it is called as Richard Riley Report. It's a very famous report by name Richard Riley Report. That document's title is also the same one, 21st century learning. That is the document's title also, R-I-L-E-Y, Riley. Richard is the regular spelling, Richard Riley. Where very interesting things, very meaningful things are discussed about the dynamics of knowledge change that is happening. And they compare the knowledge processing that happened earlier in the agriculture era, then later in industrial era, and then in the modern knowledge era. They compare. and they make you understand with some very, very interesting examples how the knowledge structures are changing, the dynamics of knowledge are changing, and how there is a need for knowledge workers like you and me, the creators of knowledge, and those who disseminate knowledge like you and me, right? We are supposed to change, right? That's how they talk about. And we call this 21st century as a digital era or a digital age. What is so digital, right? It can easily be interpreted this way, right? Anybody with some little bit of science background, you will say it is all about the zeros and ones, right? The binary code. It is that which is behind the functionality of all these computing electronic devices. So if you take the example of a mobile phone, when there is a call, you swipe it towards green to accept a call, and you swipe it towards red to reject a call, and it becomes binary. It is 1 and 0, right? That's all. 1 is green and 0 is red, and that is the basic concept. And anybody with a little deeper understanding of the words, right, you will understand that the word digital is not simply about numbers. It is much more than numbers, because the word digital goes beyond this binary code, and it is a little more. If you go into it, that is the Greek word digitus, digitus. In Greek language, it means fingertips. So any of these technologies, gadgets, services, which you operate, which you manipulate with the help of your fingertips, they become digital technologies. Let it be a keypad or a mouse or a touch screen or a remote and whatnot. It can be anything. So it is not that, let us not get into the game of which one is right, which one is wrong. Both are right here. So when we integrate digital technologies, gadgets, services into human learning, then what we have is digital learning, which is a priority area of the government today, which is also now widely being researched in terms of what they can do and in terms of what they cannot do, in terms of the several things. For instance, today, last maybe 2-3 days back, I was reading something, because continuous online learning that the students have been doing for the past 2 years plus. Now, what we have come to a kind of condition is a kind of a tedium, a digital tedium, and there is a requirement of digital detoxification. There is a talk that goes like that: in order to ensure some better mental health, okay, I think students should be given a brief break from all these continuous online exposure, YouTube channels, Microsoft Teams, this and that, continuously for 2 years, non-stop. So they have to be essentially detoxified, right, in terms of digital detoxification. So all these aspects are being researched now with regard to digital education, and I would appeal to you to read a little more, right, to develop deeper insights into the whole game of digital age education from such interesting document. This is almost 10 years gone. It is 2011 document, but this is a funded project by UNESCO by name Project Tomorrow, where they talk about an education system which can be enabled, engaged, and empowered with the power of the small e. Of course, they talk about the power of the small e, but they also talk about the 3 E's, that is an education system. For instance, you see, often we have expressions like technology enabled learning. Why technology enabled learning? Because if you take the word enabling, we call these information and communication technologies as enabling technologies. What is the importance of these technologies here? For instance, with the help of these information and communication technologies, I am able to do certain things which I was unable to do earlier. Okay, am I making myself clear? So that is why it's called enabling technology. For instance, if Dr. Amrithalingam sir, he had some 5 lakh rupee in his bank account, right? Sometime 20 years back. and he wanted to withdraw some 1,000 rupees for some personal expenses after 2:30 p.m. By no means it was possible, because 10 to 2 was the banking hours across the country. 10 to 1 was Kashmir to Kanyakumari, it was 10 to 1. And there was no ATMs, no phone pay, no all this transfers through mobile apps, no online banking, no electronic fund transfer, nothing. So he was unable to withdraw 1,000 rupees after 2:30 p.m. So what he was unable to do 20 years back, thanks to certain communication technologies, right today, he is able to do it. That's why they call it as enabling technologies. Okay. And engagement, I talked about elaborately. Empowerment, again, we call these information and communication technologies as tools of empowerment, because they are capable of empowering the learners, empowering the teachers on equal grounds. Because technologies do not differentiate between haves and have-nots, rich and poor, rural and urban. No, it is only the internet connectivity that matters. Anybody having that is equally getting empowered. Again, I'll give a small example. I'll take the example of Tamil Nadu, a state like Tamil Nadu, okay, where the government has distributed free laptops to the economically poor, economically downtrodden students, the school finishing children. And maybe there is a student coming from a very rural background, coming from a very, very socio-economically poor background, with a government laptop freely distributed. And of course, for seamless learning online, the government also has distributed 2 GB data cards, right, for the school going children, government school children. So here we have a government school boy sitting with a free laptop and sitting with a free data card, going online and searching for something on Google. On other hand, you have a boy, right, sitting in the coming from the richest of the rich family, sitting with a very, very brand new Apple Mac Airbook, some 2.5 lakh rupees worth, with a leased line internet connectivity, going to the Google and searching for the same content. And both of them are going to get the same learning resources, and both of them are going to get the same learning opportunities. This is what we call as equality in learning opportunities, equity in education, equality in learning opportunities. So technology can play that level playing ground, where irrespective of caste or community or economic stratum, right, every student gets the same learning opportunities, right, same level of empowerment. And I want you to read this slide as quickly as possible. I have already shared this PPT with the organizing team, so there is no need to make notes and all. You can just skim through this entire paragraph just to get the central message. So I'm sure you could go through that, or just skim through it quickly, just to get a central message. And before we go to discuss the content of the quote, anyone can unmute and tell me why I asked you to read this slide yourself instead of me reading. Any idea why I asked you to read it? Just make some guesses, don't worry. Right? Okay. Any guess?
Sir,
It
is
is
it
an
participatory learning?
So someone says it is to ensure participation. That's fine.
Participatory learning, yeah.
Yeah, okay. So I think even without that prompt, I think all of you are teachers and all of you are experienced teachers, you will be participating. That's fine. But anyway, that's a very good observation, right? That's no doubt.
It is an enabling technology, sir.
Yeah, maybe to enable you to understand, right? That's fine. Okay, another possible thing. No doubt, you're all thinking to your level of intelligence, right, which is higher than mine, right? So I'm just looking at a very peripheral level meaning. You see, I just wanted to communicate one thing to you, that's something technical. For instance, all of us do make PowerPoint presentations, right? In conferences, seminars, nowadays in this online mode, right? It has become essential that all of us prepare PPTs to share on the screen. Because if you, because the other day there was a talk about NEP, and for about 15-20 minutes in a webinar, I was talking without a PPT. So people have started putting message in the chat box, sir, your PPT is not seen. Right, okay. So in fact, I said I have not yet shared any PPT, I'm just talking extemporaneously. So, but that is how it is, right? But you know, there are 2-3 things I want you to remember as thumb rules of PowerPoint presentations. One is a complete paragraph or a complete sentence, even a complete sentence ending with a full stop, should not be placed on a slide like this. A complete paragraph can never be placed on a slide like this, which is projected on the screen. And there are 2 exceptions to this rule. See, there are 2 things we must keep in mind. One is a paragraph or even a complete sentence ending with a full stop. It is not possible to put it. But there are 2 exceptions. One is this one. This is a quote. You see, this is what Samuel May said in 1855. So I don't have any right to edit it and cut it short as I like. So within quotes, I put it as it is. So it is permitted. And the other one is a definition. No, in a scientific definition, you know, a comma or a colon or a semicolon would make some change in the meaning. See, in your case, if it is a definition of a law or an act or a subclass, right? No, you can put it as a sentence itself, ending with a full stop. Because cutting it short may lead to inappropriate understanding, right? So it is permitted. Otherwise, we are supposed to put our ideas, right, only in such bulleted points. Is my screen moving? It's
No,
not
sir.
moving,
No,
am I
sir.
right?
No,
Okay.
now we are in what was? Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So it is not moving. Just I'll just stop and restart the screen share. Sometimes due to network or something. So
We'll
it is
wait.
supposed to be only in the bulleted points. I'll share again. So am I back to my screen? So
Yes,
is my
Professor.
screen sharing?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Now
resumed?
it's
Yeah.
moving. Now it's
So
moving.
it is supposed to be only presented in such bulleted points like this. If required, it can be sub-bulleting. It can be some icons, right? It can be some arrow marks, drawings, images, because basically it is a visual tool, you know. And another important thing that you should do is, in case you are presenting a screen with such a long quotation or a sentence ending with a full stop, you should not read it word after word, because when it is presented on the screen, you yourself can read it. Now, why I should give voiceover for that? There is no need, right? We funnily call that as Ppt Sing along syndrome. Okay, it's a very bad syndrome that affects academic presentations. I don't know whether you did it or not, but I did it in my earlier days of presentation. We used to carry some 20 slides for seminar presentations, each having 2 paragraphs, okay, in Times New Roman 12. Probably Times New Roman 12 was the font given for the research paper, not for the PPT, right? But we wanted to have the entire paper copied on the slides in some 10-15 slides, okay? And we go there and present it and start reading, including the thank you slide we used to read, right? We call that as Ppt Sing along syndrome, right? Very bad one. We should not read slide after slide. Okay, coming to the business, right? No, in fact, as an outcome of this, my session, at least if you make better slides, I think the purpose of me coming here will be served. Okay. So coming to the discussion here, you see, this is what, this is the way the blackboard white chalk came into the system. The chalk and talk model, right? The conventional model of teaching learning that came in. You see, I am not a person to speak anything negative about chalk and talk. I am not a person to say anything negative about the use of blackboard. But all that I want you to focus on is the simple question, when did this come into the system? It was in the year 1813. It was the winter of 1813. Now this is the winter of 2022, right? Almost 21 winter is just got over. Okay. So almost 208 years gone. And my question to you is that very simple for you to think over maybe after 4 o'clock with some snacks and tea, right? How is it that you and I'm including myself also, you and I, the teachers, remain complacent, remain happy, remain comfortable with a tool, with a professional tool that was introduced 208 years earlier into our profession, right? Do you think a surgeon or a doctor will do this? Right? Though not a surgeon and doctors, even a plumber or an electrician will not do. Right? Okay. Just yesterday evening, there was an announcement. The registrar of the High Court of Kerala has announced that all courts will Kerala will close down and all hearings, right, will go only in online mode, only in virtual mode. So the judges are all at home, the lawyers are all at home, right? So a judge, by virtue of his experience over 25 years, is occupying the position of a judge. So this judge, no doubt, would have had his studies in BL, ML, PhD law, all in conventional mode of education, the chalk and talk model. But this judge is conducting the hearing right through a virtual meets platform. Right. So there is a need for switching over to newer tools. Right. That is the point I'm trying to say. I'm not trying to say anything negative about the blackboard. And what are the tools? What are the newer tools that we have? All these things and much more. You can again have a quick reading, right? All these things, starting from FM radio stations, right, to very advanced ones, right, like intelligent learning environments, right? And there are a couple of things I have put in red color here. These have to be essentially taken as red alerts for any teacher of the 21st century. See, if you're a teacher who is going to have the 10 or 15 years of service ahead, no doubts these have to be taken as real red alerts for you, because these are going to make a lot of difference in the educational systems of our country, not 20 years down the line, but in the next couple of 3, 4, 5 years time. In fact, it was the government's agenda to bring all these things into the educational systems over a period of about 10 years, right? But I would say that the pandemic has quickened the process. I would say it has brought it a little earlier, because you see, normally when we say in our educational technologies, the paradigms of educational technology, we say a country or an educational system has to be in face-to-face mode, okay? And then it has to switch over to blended mode. And blended mode, earlier it will be 90-10, 90% of classroom teaching and 10% of online. And then it should become 80-20, 70-30, 60-40, 50-50. And slowly it should switch over to online mode. But what happened in our case, it was the other way around. We were all completely in 100% face-to-face mode. And all of us were catapulted into complete 100% online, because the pandemic, the invisible virus, has done the damage, or has done the magic, I would say, right? Because it has just pushed us into a complete online mode, where left with no other option, all teachers across education systems, let it be KG to PG, right? We have all started to use one technology or the other. We have learned it by trial and error. Okay, that's all. Right? So all that I would like to tell you is that hereafter it is going to be more into it. That's why I said the pandemic has quickened the process, has made it faster, right? Because this is the agenda of the government. And now with the new education policy in place, right, where we expect by 2030, it is going to be completely in operational mode. That's what 2030-40. That decade is going to be completely operational mode of NEP 2020 as per NEP state. So complete restructuring of the system is going to be there. all these multiple entries, exits, academic bank of credits. So you do one course this year in this college, you got go and join another college, you can transfer your credits, right? All these things, right? Okay, all these innovations, experimentations, right? That we are talking. He is going to be crossing all the boundaries of experimentation, and it is going to be institutionalized by the end of this decade, and we will have 2030 to 40 completely these things being operational, right? So that is what is doing. And then when we talk about OER, I will talk about little elaborately, right? It's almost now it is 3:05, right, or so. I would just move over to that quickly. And then cloud-based applications for education. You see, don't look at all these technical terms and jargons as something big. Sir, I'm a law person, sir. I'm basically a history person. My specialization is this law, or civil, sir, or criminal law, or this one, the jurisprudence or international law, this and that, right? But these things, multimedia, technologies, MOOCs, OER, these are all something beyond my scope. There is no need to say that, right? Okay. And because let us make a very common sense approach to these things. For instance, if you are using a Google account, if you're a G Suite account holder, if you're a Gmail account holder, you are already using Google's cloud for education, because your Docs, Drive, Google Meet, Google Class, all these applications available on Google are on the Google cloud, and you're using them, right? Okay. And your mobile clouds, mobile apps, see, whatever is the content that you have on your WhatsApp, it is all there in the clouds, and you can withdraw it anytime. You can just get it download anytime. So that's how I would ask you to look at this jargons, Web 2.0. See, if you know the difference between Web 1.0 and Web 2.0, it is good. Otherwise, it is very good, right? In Tamil, we say, தெரிஞ்சா நல்லது, தெரியாட்டி ரொம்ப நல்லது. That is how it is, right? Because what we need is a practical know-how of all these things. Let us not bother too much about the technological aspects. See, let us simply understand whatever web you are experiencing today is second generation web. For instance, if you go to Tamil Nadu National Law University some 15 years earlier, of course, that university might not have been there, but still, right, any college for that matter, website, if you go 15 years back, it would not have been uh, like what you see today, the website. Today, if you see the website, there is a lot of images there, the latest things happening there are all on the scrolling, and announcements, circulars, results, right? There is something new, or some red color being blinking there just to get your attention. See, all these things are the features of the second generation web technologies. So let us stop with the basic understanding that Web 2 is that web we are experiencing today. And when it becomes Web 3.0, we will not even know that we are moving to Web 3.0. It will automatically happen, right? So that is how it is. And compared with Web 1, Web 2 is more interactive, right? More user friendly, more learner friendly. Okay? And Web 3 will be still further learner friendly, still more interactive. See, when we talk about interactive web, we should understand that as much as you interact with the websites, that much your web also is interacting with your mind. For instance, those of us who do all these online shopping, in fact, I should say, those of us who do not do is a rare thing. All of us are into online shopping now. So when you go to online shopping, the online shopping apps, the platforms, they know who you are. They know what are your interests, right? If a professor of law like you go to Flipkart or Amazon to buy books, even when you want to buy some general books for reading, it will pop up. Some pop up will come and tell you that the latest version of this law book has come. Would you like to buy? Because they have already seen your purchase patterns. They have already analyzed what are the things you are purchasing. If you have purchased 10 books related to different aspects of law, then they would come to a conclusion that you are right, basically a law person. And from the choice of the books, they can easily analyze and come to a conclusion that whether you're a teacher of law or a student of law, right? So that's how they do a lot of analytics, right? And they interact with the human minds. And when we talk about mobile apps for learning, there are very many. And I would simply say that if you have school-going boys and girls at home or in your neighborhood, if you ask them, they will tell you more about mobile apps, the available mobile apps for learning. This one is very good for maths here. This is very good for English. And this one is good for drawing, photography, right? All these things they'll say. And when we talk about AR, VR, AR tools, artificial intelligence, virtual reality, augmented reality, right? Tools. You see, there are two more things we talk about. AI stands for artificial intelligence, and virtual reality, augmented reality tools. We talk about that. And there are two more things: ML, machine learning, and IoT, Internet of Things. We talk. These 5 technologies are going to make a lot of difference in people's lives in the next 5 years, in the next 5 to 50 years. That's what the prediction is. So don't think that these technologies are going to make a difference in the industry, corporate world, or in the health sector or transportation sector. No, it is going to make changes in people's lives. So every one of us is going to get the benefit of these technologies, and every one of us is going to get the benefit. Every one of us is going to experience this in our life, right? And artificial intelligence, virtual reality, and you see, you might have read, some of you who are interested in sports, right? There has been in the last test match between India and South Africa, there was an issue with that Hawkeye camera. You know, there was a kind of a this you might have read even in the newspapers, right? There was a leg before wicket claimed, and it also went for the DRS. And you see, the DRS also was not in favor of India, but our players were exchanging some views which uh, uh, which express their dissatisfaction with that Hawkeye camera, that virtual reality projections. Right? For instance, what happens today, right? They show that particular shot, that particular ball delivery, and from all angle 360-degree, they show you live videos, and then they show you virtual reality, right? So they remove the batsman from the scene, and if that batsman had not been there, okay, whether the ball would have hit that stumps or not, they show you. But they also show much more than what you see on the screen to the third umpire, to the match referee. So there was a criticism that our players said, no, that is something bad. And you see the controversy that came up, and then there's some explanations given. So that particular company which has got the live telecast rights, it says that that is not a part of our work. That's a different one. ICC has authorized them to show only to the third umpire, right? So that is something that should, because that micro cameras captured the discussions. That is the problem. The micro mics that were in the stump, they captured the conversation between Kohli and others in the match, right? Okay. So that's how virtual reality, augmented reality, and all these things are getting very deeply into including sports, starting from fields like sports. It is coming. So that is why I say it is going to be touching everybody's life. So intelligent learning environments are going to be the results of AI, VR, AR integration. When we are going to have artificial intelligence, virtual reality, and augmented reality into education, what we are going to have is intelligent learning environments. When we say intelligent learning environments, it is going to be web-based learning environments with a lot of artificial intelligence infused into them. So what it is going to be, maybe I'll just give a small example to you, right? For instance, let me take a couple of examples here. Here we have Professor Vikash Prakash, Dr. Kalayarasi, Dr. Anil Kumar, right, and Debalina Chatterjee. So these 4 people, imagine these 4 people, Ms. Debalina, Dr. Kalayarasi, Dr. Anil Kumar, Dr. Vikas Prakash. These 4 people are all in a particular class, let it be 9th standard. Let them be happy for some time being in 9th standard. Okay. And all of them are learning same subjects, maybe mathematics or some units like algebra. See, if all these four are in the same class, what would happen? They would have a teacher coming to the class with a chalk piece and a duster, and all of them would get the same lesson, same example, same problems to solve, same exercises, and same explanations. But if it is intelligent learning environment, which we call as adaptive e-learning systems, adaptive, ADAPTIV, adapt, that means it will change, adjust, adaptive. And if these four people, right, Anil Kumar, Vikas Prakash, Kalayarasi, and Devalina Chatterjee, if all these four are in the same class, but all of them are in the same section as well, say learning the same thing. But if all of them are in an intelligent learning environment, what will happen is everyone will get a different example, different problem to solve, different exercise, and a different explanation. And this difference will be linked to their individual differences, because each one is uniquely different from one another. See, Anil Kumar as a learner of mathematics is beyond comparison with Dr. Kalayarasi. And the ways in which Dr. Kalayarasi learns mathematics will be quite different from the ways in which Ms. Chatterjee learns, because there are a lot of differences, because all these four come from different familial backgrounds. All of them come from different genetic backgrounds. All of them come with different learning readiness, and their parental education levels are different. Their previous levels of knowledge are different, and their aptitude and attitude for learning mathematics is different. Okay. But in a classroom, what happens is all that the teacher follows is one size fits all model. There is a model called one size fits all model. Okay. And that is what is always practiced in a classroom. And see, I'm not blaming any teacher here. But in a conventional classroom where there are 50, 60 students sitting there, the teacher can never be blamed for not individualizing the attention to every learner, because individualization is not possible, because it's a large classroom and in the given less time and strictly adhering to the academic calendars prepared by universities, right? It will be very difficult to provide individualized learning. But in an intelligent learning environment, every learner will have an individual learning path. Every learner will have a different pathway of learning, and this pathway will be dynamic, in the sense that everyone will have the pathway which is dynamic, that it will change according to the learning. For instance, if Dr. Anil Kumar keeps learning mathematics faster, it will take him to next levels of algebra, giving him more challenging assignments, more application oriented, more analysis oriented questions. And for some reason, if Dr. Vikas Prakash is learning mathematics a little slow, right, it will tell him that at some point where he is struggling, Mr. Vikas, you seem to have some problems with these things. You seem to have got these things wrong, right? So can you just watch these videos so that you will understand this, right, better? And maybe it will suggest a couple of videos. Some YouTube links will be shared on the screen. It will say, come on, click open these videos, watch these videos. And when he watches these 4 or 5 videos, suddenly there will be a pop-up on the screen. It will say, because now that you have watched these videos, can you just start playing this game? Okay, there will be a game on the screen, and he plays the game where some algebra will be integrated. And when he completes 5 levels of the game, there will be some chocolate shower on the screen, and it will say, yes, because now you have got the things ready, you have cleared all your problems, now it is time for you to start this unit of algebra. That's how it will say, right? So that is how intelligent learning environments are going to work, keeping the student at the center of the whole process, and keeping, right, the students' individual differences as very important pointers to providing learning contents. That's how it is going to be. So I just would focus a little on this new media. It is about 3:20, right? Maybe another 10 minutes I would speak, and then 3:30 to 4 we will have the live demos. of some of the open education resources. So the digital age pedagogy. See, what is the result of this new media, right? The new media, what I say as new media is basically www. www can be interpreted as World Wide Web, but also as whatever, whenever, wherever. That is other way of looking at www. Because with our mobile internet access, it can give you anytime, anything from anywhere. So whatever you want, wherever you want, and whenever you want, you can get it with the help of mobile internet access. And mobile internet access is something very, very big that you and I as Indians have to be proud of, because we are the second largest country in the world with a maximum penetration of mobile internet connectivity in the rural packets. And 1 out of every 3 smartphone user is in India. And we expect the number of smartphones in India to be more than the total population of India in the next 1.5 years' time. So that is how it is going to be, right? So all these aspects of education, let it be materials or methods or media, and men here. No, you're all lawyers. There is no gender bias in my language. I have put it with a capital M. It includes women also, because it should not become a gender issue here, right? When we say men, it includes women also here with a capital M. I put it here. Like when you say man is mortal, right? It includes women also. Women are not immortals. That's how it is, right? Okay. So all these aspects, these 4 we call as the 4 M's of an education system, the 4 pillars, and all these 4 are very heavily influenced by education, by technology. The materials that today are technology mediated, media integrated learning materials, and the methods of learning are changing in tune with the available resources. See, 20 years back, we learned all that we learned only from text, because YouTube channels were not there for us. Video content were not available for us, right? So it is availability of the method media that changes the methods of learning, which by providing different materials for learning. So now, no doubt, the men and women involved in this whole game also has to change. And when we talk about the impact of the new media on the educational systems, is this as the result. No, there is an expression today I see in some literature, which is, I will not say it is standard vocabulary, but there is an expression like digigaji, Digigogy, digigaji. That is facilitating learning to a digital generation of learners in the digital learning environments, digitally rich environments, using the digital tools. That is what we look at it as digigaji. So facilitating learning to digital learners in a digitally rich environment with the digital tools available. That's what we call as a digigaji or digital age pedagogy. See, if you understand these 4 concepts, I think you have understood the concept of digigaji, I'll say. One, I think the first one, we will spend about 1 to 2 minutes more. The other 3 are quite easy for you to get the point. For instance, digital learning environments. Today's learning environments are digital, virtual, and visual. Today's learning environments are virtual, digital, and visual. For instance, Dr. Amritan sir is sitting at home or at TNNLU, and some of you are sitting at National Law University, Tamil Nadu, in Trichy. I am sitting at my native place, Coimbatore, and some of you are sitting in other states, right? And all of us are separated by huge distances. All of us, there is a huge distance that separates all of us. But in spite of the distance, all of us are connected on an environment. And I call this environment as a digital environment. Why? Because your computers, your mobile or your internet connectivity, your devices, and National Law University's WebEx platform, all these technologies together have created this learning environment, because all of us are connected on an environment, and that environment had been made possible by a variety of digital technologies and tools. And I would call them as virtual because this learning environment is not there physically. No, can you touch and feel this environment? No, this environment exists only in the air. Okay, so that environment connecting you and me exists only in the air. So we call that as virtual, not real, but it is also visual. For instance, for want of data, I have turned on off my camera. If I turn on my camera and provide some activity, right, a demo, maybe let imagine it's a dance class, and I'm providing some steps, right? I'm providing some particular gestures in Bharatanatyam dance training. So it will become a visual learning experience for you, right? Okay. So that's why I say the learning environments are digital, virtual, and visual. And when we look at edutainment media, I would say it is edutainment media. Why? Because we are using all these entertainment media tools, entertainment media platforms for education today, right? See, television, video, multimedia, graphics, animation, games, all these are basically entertainment media platforms, and we are using entertainment media for education. So it becomes a hybrid word. Education and entertainment together, it becomes edutainment. I have put a small question mark over the next one. Do we have a digital generation of teachers? Unfortunately, no, because we are not a part of digital generation. All the teachers here, we are not the part of a digital generation. Only the students are digital generation. Okay, but there is something that is happening. I will come to that point when I talk about the first one, digital generation of learners. If you want to understand, right, that better, I would appeal you to read this person, Mark Prensky. Mark Prensky is a very celebrated writer, a very thought-provoking writer, a little controversial writer. He is a thought leader. See, some of the articles are very, very popular. And the first article that I have listed here, right, out of the three, one is relevant for our discussion on digital learners. Because in this article, he talks elaborately about that. In this article entitled Digital Natives, Digital Immigrants, one small thing he comes up with, one small theory that he says is, see, any country will have some 3 to 7 years, a period known as electronic boom period. Electronic boom period. Maybe in our country, it would have been some 87, 88, 89, 90, 91, 90. That may be the period. Because in an electronic boom period, the cost of the electronics gadgets, electronic tools and technologies, gadgets would go down drastically. And common men and women would buy a lot of electronic digital gadgets for their daily use at home or at office, right? And in any place. Probably it was 87 to 1991. Before 85, before 87, 85, 86 or so, no, that was the time when all our households, we started buying television, okay, VCP, 2-in-1, right? You remember all those days, right? Our elderly persons, right, can easily recall, because otherwise, in the entire village of about 200 families, only one family would have a television set. A Dynara television or a Keltron or a BPL, okay, with a big shutter and all, okay. And that was the time that things shifted, things moved, and we started to get a lot of these electronic gadgets, music, camera, television sets, and everything. And what he says is, coming to the point here, what Prensky says is, the simple thing is, all children who take birth in a country after this electronic boom, they take birth in a digitally rich environment, and they grow in a digitally rich environment. Okay. So much so, they become the digital kids over a period of about 7 to 11 years. Because from around 3 years to 11 years, in the developmental psychology, it is termed as the formative period for a child. No, the children's personality get formed, their behavior gets shaped during this period. So all these experiences they get during this period, they shape their personality and behavior. So that's what he says. All these children who take birth in a digital world and who grow in a digital world, they become natives of a digital world. They become digital natives. And all the teachers, all the elderly people, all the parents who took birth in a pre-digital era and who migrated themselves in the digital era, they become digital immigrants. That's what they say. And the real problem in our colleges and schools, the simplest thing is that 100% the students are digital natives and more than 80% the teachers are digital immigrants. So when the teacher goes and stands with a chalk piece and a duster, the real problem starts. Okay. So because these children expect something different, because they have been shaped up by digital media culture, and their lives are deeply immersed in digital media culture, and anything non-digital is unacceptable to them. Okay. And there are some interesting things. I'm just putting up some funny pictures for you to relax a little bit, right? Because just in a few minutes I'll close this and go to certain OER purpose. Is a picture being shared? Anyone can unmute and tell me?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, fine.
Yes, sir.
So
Yes, sir. It is.
just for the fun here, just to be on the lighter side, you see technology penetration, how much it happens. See, I'm trying to bring in some of the ideas of Mark Prensky. One of the ideas Mark Prensky says gives is that the one difference between you and your son and daughter is the simple thing, that is, for you and I, technologies touched our lives very, very late. Okay. Maybe for me and Dr. Amrithalingam sir, it was all in our late 20s. We saw and had a touch and feel of all these computers, this and that. Okay. To be very frank with you, we were taking at least 15 days to learn double clicking. Right. That is how we learned all this. And after 2 weeks only, we realized the other side of the mouse, there is another click. We didn't know what to do with that. Okay. But you see, the difference now is that very children at the very tender age, they get the touch and feel of the technology gadgets. They start using the touch screen, they start using the gadgets, devices, right? Just like that. Okay. That, and Mark Prensky says, that makes a big difference. Okay. You see how babies will be born in future? You see here, just to be on the lighter side, it is just you can relax a little bit. Okay. And you should not get surprised if something is going to happen like this in the days to come. And look at this, how technology penetrates. I hope all of you see a red round over a particular area. Okay. You see here how the young mother doing some online activity is using the back of an infant as a mouse pad. All of you can see that. So this boy or a girl, less than a year old probably, they gets the touch and feel of a computer mouse. Okay. Gets the touch and feel of a computer mouse. So what does it matter? Maybe some of you have a thinking. Okay, sir, let the mother use the back as a mouse pad, and let this boy get the touch and feel of a computer mouse. So what is it the difference it's going to make? Do you think that this this boy or a girl, the personality is going to change and the behavior is going to change, right? So maybe you can take a stand. No, sir, I don't think it will happen. I'm not ready to accept this. Yes, you are at liberty to have a stand. Absolutely no issues. But I would like to say there is an interesting reading. Again, there is a person by name Marshall McLuhan. Marshall McLuhan is a great media scientist. He was a great communication expert. You know what he said somewhere in 1985, 86? What he said was, you see, we the human beings shape our tools first. And over a few years of use, the tools will start shaping us. That's what Marshall McLuhan said. You see, what happens? You buy a product, you buy a smartphone, you use it for 5 years. Okay. See, you were not born and brought with the smartphone. No doubt. You were, at least for 20 years, you were managing with your landline phone. You were managing sometimes without a phone. Life was perfect. Life was happy, right? But you bought your smartphone, right? Android phone. And after 3 years or 4 years of use, you become so addicted to it. If at all you forget it and go to campus, oh my God, what am I going to do the whole day? Oh no, it is not possible. You get so upset. Oh my God, how many calls I'm going to miss? And I promised somebody that I would call after reaching the campus. But what to do now, right? Okay. So you get so upset, right, with this. So that is why, right, Marshall McLuhan came out with that statement. Right? So that is, we get shaped. And you get this, there is no generation gap, you see. It's all the same touchscreen generation. And look at this very famous picture on the social media platforms. You know, the A for Apple, B for book that you and I studied in our school days, that's gone, right? This is now altogether different vocabulary. The simple thing that I'm trying to say here is the children, just like that, pick up the technical vocabulary. Okay, the technical vocabulary we learned very late in our lives, they just like that pick up. For instance, you have a second standard or a third standard son or daughter coming home and telling you, Daddy, I want the laptop to download something for my project work. Okay. Mummy, you give me the modem. I want to download something for my project work. You see, when did you and I get project work? Maybe it was in final year UG, we got a group project. And I think some intelligent students would do the project and we will put our signature. That's all. Right. Okay. And in the final year PG, we got an individual project. And only when we went to MPhil or higher studies, maybe our teachers, our guide told us, come on, here, bring something for discussion. Yeah, we started downloading. So what downloading we started in our PG, right? Our kindergarten children, our third standard boy, or son or a daughter is doing, right? So the project work that we did in UG, PG final year, they do in every class, every weekend they do projects, right? Okay. So that is what is very important, right? Okay. And if look at this, right, a third standard answer sheet, just to be on the lighter side. You see, look at the question and answer. See, the three essential elements of human survival are. Okay, look at the answers. See, if this question paper had been given to me or anybody here, right, as Dr. Golda says, even first standard student is writing, they're doing projects, right? Okay. So this is how you see. If this question paper had been given to me or anybody of my age here or seniors, the answers would have been air, water, and food, and we would have got 3 tick marks and 3 marks here. But I think, look, I think this picture shows the glaring difference between the digital immigrant teacher and the digital native student. This teacher, who should actually give a chocolate to this boy or a girl, look at the way she has all marked, he or she has marked zero, all wrong and given a 0. Now, why I say this boy or a girl deserves chocolate is some independent thinking, you see, some creative thinking this boy has done or this girl has done. So if this boy or a girl comes to our class, this is what will happen. Okay, they'll say, Madam, you don't worry about notes making, madam. You just write on the board and go, madam. Don't worry. Sir, what is this, sir? Always making notes, make notes. Don't worry, sir. We will make notes, sir. You just without wiping the board, you leave. Don't worry. Okay, that's what they will say because they have a digital storage of knowledge. See, okay, that is just to be on the lighter side. But beyond the laughter, I was trying to communicate one thing to you, that this generation is getting more and more digital every day. And I would be happy if you read, uh, go to the people like Ding, uh, Eon Jukes and Anita, right, Palfrey and Gazer. You see, understanding the first generation of digital natives and understanding digital kids. I would suggest these open source books. They're also freely downloadable for you to read. See, forget your students. At least for better understanding your own sons and daughters, I think reading of these books will help you. Right? I'm sure all of you have kids at home. You have kids of that age, right? And look at the third one. Why do I need a teacher when I've got Google? So why a teacher? There is already Google, right? So now is it something like Mata Pita Guru Devam is becoming Mata Pita Google Devam these days, right? Is the Guru getting replaced by Google these days, right? Probably the title reads a little negative, no doubt. Why do I need a teacher when I've got Google? But Ian Gilbert is very positive in his chapters, where very forcible arguments as to why a teacher is needed in spite of Google. Even though Google is there, why should there be a teacher? So essentially, the book talks a lot about the revised role that the teacher has to play in the 21st century environment. So in the essence of it, I will tell you in a single line. That is very simple. That is, today's teachers cannot afford to do the same things their teachers did to them 20 years back. Okay. So our teachers did something to us and we religiously accepted it. Because in those days, YouTube was not there, MOOC platforms were not there, learning management systems were not there, mobile apps for learning were not there. So we were teacher dependent learners and we accepted whatever our teachers did as the final one. But today it is not the case. Teacher is one of the sources of knowledge to the learners. So there are radio channels, there are video channels, there are YouTube channels, mobile apps, and there are simulation platforms, learning management systems, and all of them are there, teacher to teach. Right? That is something that we should understand. So I was already talking about this, the digital learning environment. For instance, if you look at it, see, no institution is away from the learner in terms of physical distances. At the click of a mouse or a touch of a screen, anyone can get into any campus. Right? Some of you from other institutions, you clicked your mouse a few times and you logged into TNNLU WebEx platform. So you got into the portal, right? And you are inside the university, right? So no institution is away from the learner in terms of physical distances. And as I told you, a variety of media platforms like text, audio, video, graphics, animation, multimedia, all into education. Right? And you and I, just my talking part, I'm concluding here. So the teacher of the 21st century, what you and I are supposed to be, we are not supposed to be dispensers of information. See, dispensing information is very lower order activity. A plus B whole square, what it becomes. The first Panipat War, who was the winner, who was the loser, right? And in which year this law was enacted, in which year this amendment was brought in. These are all, you see, bits and pieces of information. The student can get it from Ask or Yahoo or Bing or any such search engines will help it, right? But you and I are supposed to stop being dispensers of information and we should become orchestrators of learning. Even in an orchestra, you might have come across a person with a stick in his hand, just making the movements to indicate where the chorus should start and where the music should go. And you and I, as 21st century teachers, are supposed to play that role. We should give signals to our students, right? Come on, this is basic units, right? Go and watch these videos, right? And there are, if you are teaching Constitution of India, right? See, there are at least 10,000 videos on Constitution of India. Okay, by explaining about fundamental rights, fundamental duties, right? Yeah, all the principles, everything. And when there are interesting videos, very beautifully created, very quality, high quality learning content, you can direct the attention of the students. If you watch this video, right, get to know what is all this about Constitution of India, right, and then come for a discussion to the class, right. So it is that type of methodology we have to take up, and we should help our students to convert information into knowledge. You see, all that Google can give only is information and n GB of information. Any GB of information Google will give, but converting that information into knowledge requires some mental processes, and these mental processes are dependent on the individual's higher order thinking skills. HOTS, 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 and HOTS and LOTS. What are they? I think I need not go deep into it because you are already working in the OBE model. and you know very well what it is, and all these cognitive domain, right? Bloom's revised taxonomy, these things you know very well. I'm not going deep into it, but I'm just telling you that in this picture, one thing that is additional here is the that yellow colored box. Where we have just put up some ICT based activities, right? Starting from text messaging to collaborative activities in online mode, right? Which are linked to certain lower order skills and higher order skills. That's all. And this is Web 2.0. I told you that the second generation web tools, only for one cognitive domain I have put it here. And I think this, I'm not going deep into it because only in a workshop mode, where we can provide you some computers to sit and work on with some hands-ons and demos. We can make you really work on these platforms and help you develop some deeper insights into the working of these things. But all that I want to tell you is that you just take a screenshot of this, go to the Google, and just give these names like iRubric or Ruby Star or Protagonize or ePortfolio or Campus, right? Or Hot Potatoes, right? All these things. Anything for that matter, VoiceThread or Prezi. And I think you can learn any of these things over a period of 7 to 10 days if you spend some 40 minutes or 45 minutes every day, because all of them are the so-called second generation tools, and they are very easy to learn. They are very interactive in their learning. They are learner friendly, they are user friendly. Okay. Sorry for the disturbance here. Okay. So all these, am I audible now?
Yes, Professor, you are
Yes, sir.
Professor, please.
Yeah. So there was these tools are so easy to learn. They are learner friendly and user friendly platforms. And the other important thing is that all of them come with video tutorials. For instance, you want to learn how to work with Prezi. Prezi is like MS PowerPoint. Prezi is a product of some other company, and it's a very effective presentation tool. At least 100 times or 150 times more advanced and powerful than MS PowerPoint. Okay, but how do you learn Prezi? Just go and give on Google, right? Prezi tutorials. You are going to get a lot of interesting tutorials, and the first or second video tutorial that you see in the Google search page, you use it. That will be the very effective video tutorial. You just watch what is happening on the screen, minimize the window and do it on your screen. You know how to work with this. Right? That is the way. Because the other aspect of these technologies is that these technologies are better learned by using and not by learning about it. See, by reading something about Prezi, you are not going to use Prezi. If you want to use Prezi, you should learn Prezi only by using it, right? Because you see, when we bought our smartphones, or when somebody presented to us smartphones, we did not go to Samsung or Nokia or Redmi to undergo a training program on how to use a mobile phone. We started using the 4 or 5 days, we toggled with different buttons and we understood what is it, right? So that is the way that we should look into it, right? And it's about 3:50 now, right? So what I'm trying to say is, so I would just skip this flipped classroom a little, because that is already I talked about it in a different way. So all that is I want to tell you about the teachers is that, you know, a digital age teacher has to stop being a solo singer of knowledge, because you cannot be a solo singer now. It is like orchestra singing. because today there are radio channels to teach, there are video channels to teach, and there are YouTube channels, learning management systems, and all things are there to teach, facilitate learning. So when you also get into the classroom here, I'm here to facilitate learning. I think there are two things that you must essentially have in your mind. That is how to recast our role as a 21st century teacher and how to re-engineer the work as a teacher of the digital era. And being a digital age teacher means being a networked teacher. That means you cannot be an island of knowledge, and you have to network. You have to join hands. You have to collaborate with the technologies, with the technologists, right? No other go. And mastering ICT skills is very important. I told you earlier, National Education Policy is going to come out with an e-competency framework for higher education teachers in India. That is, whether you teach botany or zoology or law or medicine or sociology, English language and literature, or anthropology or psycho, doesn't matter. Right? Any teacher in the education system here has to essentially learn all these technologies and media. Maybe if the teacher is a kindergarten teacher, he would use animation, and he would use all these comic characters for facilitating learning to his class students. And if the teacher is a PG teacher, right, teaching some advanced practicals, he would be using virtual software, virtual laboratories for teaching the things. That's how it goes, right? So mastering ICT skills is important, and using ICT skill is more important for creating a new learning culture. Right? Imagine if you are going to bring in a new method of learning here. That is, after every class, whether it is this law or that law, right? You will give them some websites. You will give them some platforms where some learning resources, multimedia resources, video contents, or live lectures, or live captured video recordings of some investigations, right, or some moot courts, right, are there. The students can have a practical know-how of that. Then you see you are bringing in a new culture of learning, right? That is something that I would like to say. Now, my talking part is over with regard to the use of technologies and other things. Now, just a few screenshots and the discussion. It is about 3:51 or 2. Just have a few more minutes, because I have already shared with Dr. Amardalingam sir a complete list of open educational resource platforms, a 2-page MS Word file. Okay? And all these OER portals are multidisciplinary by nature, in the sense that all of them have contents related to all subjects. Right? So I will explain a couple of things just to initiate some curiosity, and then I think it is because even if I give demos for 2 days, I think I cannot stop demonstrating, because there is so much of work that has been done. So the first one I would like to talk to you is about this OER Commons platform. OER Commons platform is, I don't know whether to say one of the or the. It is a very huge digital library of OER, open educational resources. I think I need not elaborate to you. You're all lawyers, and the legal rights and responsibilities you know better. Open content is something which is available to you for free download, free use, free share, and free edit, free redistribution. Nobody is going to ask you, see, why did you download this video from our college website? This is our college website. When you put it on a college website, it becomes an open content, and anyone can download and use it in his classroom or her classroom, or upload it again on another platform like a blog or a college website. Right? Okay? So that's how it goes. So this one is the largest, and it is easy for you to go and search. See, what are you looking for? Subject. You can click. Right? Yes, sir. Avardhan sir, say something. Right? Okay.
I'll share the PPT and Word document process.
Yes, right. So
Please,
both the things will come to you, because
Definitely.
this PPT also, I would say, is OER only. So you can use it free. Right? You can also share it with us, and you can choose educational level, right? Standards, right? Okay. For instance, I want to learn something about IPR, intellectual property rights. Maybe I'm a I'm a professor of educational technology. So I may not require a higher level of knowledge like a lawyer, you and others. Maybe for I'm a common man, I'm a layman. For me, I want to know what is good and what is bad with IPR. Can I use this or not? That's all. So I can choose what levels I want. Standards, advanced level content or intermediate level contents or basic content is enough for me. I can choose. Right? Okay. And this is Library of Congress. Library of Congress is the US government's funded library, the largest open library, digital library. And purposefully, I have clicked open that menu, that's a menu, and taken a screenshot, because we look at the library as something different. Because here it is, what do you have in this library, digital library, right? You see audio recordings, books and printed materials, films and videos, legislations, manuscripts and mixed materials, maps, notated musics, right? Newspapers, periodicals, personal narratives, even including judges, right? Photos, prints and drawings, software, e-resources, web archives, archived pages of certain websites, web pages, 3D objects, all these things, right? So a digital, you may require at least 2 days to click on menus and submenus and familiarize yourself with what is available in this portal. Okay, so this is Library of Congress, I said, and open libraries. And this is Project Gutenberg. Project Gutenberg is an e-book project. And I think you know the word Gutenberg. I think you know the name. He is the one who developed the printing press, the mechanical printing press. But now we talk about e-books. There is no paper book here. But still, we wanted to honor this person. That is why this project is named Project Gutenberg. A huge collection of books for free access, right? This is the first e-book project of the world. And this is, as you can see, this is audiobook sites. This is a site for audiobooks. So you have books available in the form of audios. So imagine there is a book about 300 pages. Somebody reads every page after page, records his reading, and converts that into an audio book. It becomes available for free access here if you go to free stuff. So arts, entertainment, biography, business, education, history, language and literature, philosophy, politics, religion, science, social sciences, technology, travel, on a variety of topics. You have books in the form of audios. So if you have 1 GB space in your mobile phone, about 20 audio books you can download, store them, and keep listening to the books on the go. One advantage of audio listening is sometimes it gets registered in the subconscious mind, and whenever it is warranted, it comes to your help. For instance, when there is a good song, right? Sometimes 10 years back, the film might have come, and you might have listened to the song so many times during that time. You did not memorize that. Maybe for the past 2 years, you might not have listened at all that song, but suddenly on a radio, right? You just listen to that song and you start singing along with it. All the lines, every word that you sing along with it. So that is what is the power of this audio medium that gets registered by continuous exposure. And this is a book which will give you lots of free books. And bloggeries, right? Bloggeries are collections of blogs. Blog is a personal web page, and it's a collection of web pages. And any one of you can create a blog, right, using a platform like WordPress or using a platform like Bloggeries, right? Bloggeries is a part of, sorry, Blogger is a part of Google. So you can create easily. I'm not doing any marketing for this Blogger or WordPress. I'm just mentioning these names because they are quite easy to work with. If you are comfortable with email, you will be equally comfortable with the blogging also if you choose WordPress or a blogger for having a web page, right? Okay. And in bloggeries.com, you will get in the entire world's blogs created, categorized and made available to you for free access. For instance, maybe, sir, my student wants to learn something about the Indian history. Which blog contains interesting content? Then the student can go to education and then go further UG, PG, right? Then maybe arts, humanities, right? He chooses arts or humanities, right? And then you'll see history as a subject, and he can see all the blogs which contains some history content. That's how it goes. And this is podcasting. Podcasting, don't go into again the technical terms. iPod and broadcast together becomes podcast, right? So it's very simple. I've just got a screenshot of the University of Oxford podcast. See, whatever that I have highlighted with the red round, that CC symbol, that is the indicator. I think I need not tell you this. This is well known to you. That is Creative Commons. That is the symbol that indicates that the content is free content, open content. If it is single C with a round, I think I need not tell you again, that is copyright material. So without permission, you cannot use it as you like. But if it is two C's with a round over it, it is free. And again, there are some attributions like CC by NA, CC by SA and other things. If you just go to that OER, Commons, Creative Commons web portal, you will see the picture that tells you what is CC by NA, what is CC by SA and other things. Right? Okay. This is Wiki platform. Wiki platform is one place where you will get editable content. So for instance, if you download a book from Wiki platform, from a Wiki book platform on cyber laws, maybe the latest modifications, amendments carried out in the laws will be there because somebody will have added it. Right? Somebody who read it last and who thought that this is missing would have added that. So you will get the book with updated content. Okay? And this is Khan Academy. Khan Academy is mostly for school children on a variety of topics, and they have something related to management law also. Right? But very interesting videos, very beautifully created, very pedagogically very sound videos. I request you to kindly watch one or two. You will understand how their very great work they have done. And this is for higher education. Cosmo Learning is good for higher education. Like Khan Academy videos or Cosmo Learning is a beautiful video site for higher education. And if you go to MIT Open Courseware, you will get complete courseware. The entire courseware means a bundle of learning resources starting from syllabus to assignment questions and test questions. So lecture notes, PPTs, discussion boards, everything you can download as a bundle. That's what becomes a courseware. Right? And this is Coursera and edX are the two most important portals for massive open online courses for teachers and anybody who wants to professionally enrich themselves. And Swayam, as you know, is India's portal, an indigenously developed MOOC platform for Indian students by Indian teachers. And you have courses for Bachelor of Law program. Also, you have courses available here. So students can take the courses here and transfer the credits to your university. And that credit transfer facility is possible with Swayam portal. And this is National Digital Library. And maybe one thing I will demonstrate quickly before I close, right? NDL. And this one is Sakshat portal. This is One India, One Digital platform, where you will find school level, undergraduate level, postgraduate level, and other online learning portals, sakshat.ac.in portal. And this is ePathshala. ePathshala is for school children, and ePG Pathshala is for postgraduate students. If you go to epgp.inflipnet.ac.in, you can just go to arts, humanities, social sciences, and professional. If you click on professional, you will see, right, law, medicine, right? Others law, you click the entire ML program, Master of Law program, all courses, every course, right? For instance, if you take a course on taxation laws, right, the entire taxation law 5-unit paper, 5-unit content, you will get in 4-quadrant model contents and video, audio, right, and learning materials, very readily available. Yeah? And this is CEC, Consortium for Educational Communication. This is largely for UG level content, right? You will have CEC MOOCs platforms also as mostly UG content you will get on CEC platform, including law. And this is NPTEL. You may not get much for your law, but it is more for science, engineering, technology, and management, NPTEL of IIT Madras. But it is a national project now. And this is Swayam Prabha. Swayam Prabha is a part of Swayam network. And it is a collection of 32 DTH channels. And you will have 24/7, right? Very beautiful video lectures, right? Repeatedly telecast, right, on things. And there are courses, there are channels, subject specific channels, maybe for law and justice, right? Legal studies, there is a channel. And for medicine, there is a channel. For agriculture and other such life sciences, there is a channel. For English and foreign languages, there is a channel. So 32 DTH channels giving 24/7 video lectures, video lessons, discussions, and video content for learning. So all these are things. And this one, the last one, Vidyamitra. Vidyamitra is a kind of an integrated portal. That means all that I have been speaking here, EPGP, NDL, CEC, all Swayamprabha, all these are available in a single portal within. Right? So that is the thing I would like to say. And all that I would like to close this talk with is this Alvin Toffler's idea. I've always closed my ICT talk with Alvin Toffler. He's a very, very celebrated writer. I think most of you might have read him. I tell my research scholars, see, if you have money, you buy and read. Or if you have money, you borrow and read. If you have money, you buy and read. Or if you have friends, you borrow and read. Or if you have strength in your body, steal and read. But you must read this fellow, Alvin Toffler. You know what he says as the mantras for professional success in 21st century are these three: learn, unlearn, and relearn. And anyone not doing these three or incapable of these three is no better than an illiterate. That's what he would say. Everyone has to keep learning new things, unlearning old things, and relearning things in a revised context. I always give the example of a bus conductor. And you see, when you get into a public transport system today, you see a bus conductor standing with a ticketing machine, a handheld device, right, and generating a thermal printout of a digital ticket. Okay, and the very same bus conductor had been giving colorful tickets and writing accounts with a wooden pen. But you know, he has unlearned that practice and learned the practice of working with a ticketing machine. And already this pandemic's time, the buses are not flying, the batteries, the software are giving trouble in the machines. So the government is giving new machines with a new software shortly. So they will relearn this mechanism. So I'm not underestimating the bus conductor's role in society, but still, when a bus conductor is learning, unlearning, and relearning, right, this much, as a teacher of a very progressive education system, right, like Indian education system, and especially in a professional training program like yours, law, legal studies, you can easily imagine how much of learning, unlearning, and relearning you should be doing. Right? So that is my appeal to you. So all that I would like to close my talks with is a simple point. That is, let us do today's jobs with today's tools. Because whatever I have shown here, these are the tools of the day for our profession. And if we do is today's jobs with yesterday's tools, maybe you will be out of business tomorrow. That's what an American proverb says. I'm not saying that, right? Again, and you can feel free to stay connected with me on all these things. And just I would close down this screen, and I would just take you for one more screen, just to take you to one simple portal, right? Just very quickly. So can you? So is my screen shared now?
Yes, Professor. Your email column is open, Professor.
Yeah, I would just take you to one portal, just to show you what we have done in India. So because this the list will contain, this is National Digital Library of India. You see, I was talking to you about the Library of Congress, which is American, and this one is National Digital Library of India. Right now, you see 8 crore 55 lakh. How much is the content? Yeah.
490, Professor. 490.
Resources. You see, you can see that 8 lakh, 8 crore 5 lakhs 53,490 resources available, right? This is what the Indian digital system has developed. So I click on law and management. Okay, I see here management, video lectures, law, act, judgment, articles, video lectures, question papers. So I give something on Indian Law Institute, something law, act, judgment, right? This and that, constitutional law, constitution and law. One portal I give, CEC alone. So you see here, There is career in law, compulsory licensing in India, case study, anti-defection law, criminal justice system, part 1, 2, 3, 4, Dr. Bhimrao Ambedkar, life and work, 1, 2, democracy and constitution. You see here, you see the type of contents that have been made available: emergency provision, fundamental rights, Indian judiciary, infringement of patents, law related to patents, legislative procedures, patentable subject matter, president rule in India. You see how much of contents. All these are video contents. Okay. All these are readily available video contents. And my request to you is to simply tell the boys, tell the girls that this is available. So let them go and explore, right? Let them learn, right? That is the point that I would like to say. So with this, let me thank every one of you for your active listening. And I would like to thank Honorable Madam Vice Chancellor and the good friend like Dr. Amruthalingam Madam and other good friends of Tamil Nadu National Law University for giving me the opportunity to meet you all in this virtual platform and share something related to my field of educational technology and use of ICT for education. So it is already 4:10, but I am available. If any questions, clarifications, you are most welcome. Otherwise, maybe it's over to the organizing team. So now
Thank
I
you,
stop
sir.
sharing. Yes, sir.
Thank you, sir. One information, sir,
Yes,
with
please.
respect to National Digital Library of India,
Yeah.
Tamil Nadu National University is the first legal education institution to become as the member of NDLA club, sir.
Fantastic, sir. Fantastic.
So under the TNNLU NDLA club, so far we have conducted 3 to 4 events
Fantastic.
to give more legal awareness
Fantastic.
about the NDLAs.
Very nice.
So with this information, yes, sir. Yes, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you for your interesting, enthusiastic, and enlightening, thought-provoking speech on digital learning, technological pedagogy, and OER perspective, sir. So now I invite all the participants to raise questions. Now the floor is open for the participants. In case if you are having any query, you can raise the query.
So the entire
Any questions?
list has been given to Professor. He will share it with you.
Yes,
Yes,
Prof.
sir,
I'll
yes,
do
sir.
that, Prof.
Give it,
I'll
sir.
do it.
Any questions?
Sir, this is Mahendra Prabhu.
Yes,
I have
sir.
a
Yes, sir.
question, sir.
Yes, sir.
With respect to the learning management LMS, if we are adapting, whether we need to do everything in that particular platform or it would be like something mixture of both offline and online parts. Sir.
So you see, it is actually optional, sir. For instance, I'm just giving a small example. Though not a proprietary paid type of learning management system, even if you go to a platform like Moodle or Edmodo, EDMODO, Edmodo is now, they are doing a lot of work in the sense that they want to compete with Moodle. So they are coming out with a lot of features which are very, very interesting. And even for correcting tests online, e-correction, even for questions, not only objective multiple choice type, even for short answer questions, it's possible you can do the correction and give marks there. So like that, they have integrated teaching, learning, evaluation all into it. But if you choose to have Edmodo, again, it is left to you to decide whether the entire thing would go into the Edmodo platform or you will use Edmodo as for certain activities, for only content sharing, only for testing, right? Because it is ultimately going to be installing Edmodo platform and creating an Edmodo class in every teacher's name. And it is left to the teachers to use it as he or she likes, right? So it is like that. So it can be partially also used because it will come with a lot of features and they will also keep expanding their what to say work, right? No doubt, giving new additional features. So it is left to you to use it or otherwise. For instance, often we hear people, sometimes some elderly people, when they want to buy a new phone, we say, sir, the salesman may say, sir, this is the latest one in Android, sir. This has the Snapdragon, this and that, and they will say, sir, Thambi, I will not, so see, boy, I will not use all these features. See, I am an old man, but the maximum I will use WhatsApp and only making calls. But it is there, right? When you buy a new phone, all these are there. It is left to you to choose all the options available there or only to use optimally right, for things which you think as necessary purpose. Right? So I will say it is judicious use of technology, right? Blending technologies in a judicious way. Which one you think has right to integrate with technology, other one which you think it can be easy. It will better if I direct him to read a book, right? That better direct the boy to read a book on that. No need to watch a video, right? That's how it is.
Thank you, sir. Again, I have another question, sir.
Yes, sir.
We talk about ICT tools. Is
Yes.
there any kind of a definition or a qualification? I mean, we've been using WhatsApp, Facebook, and many platforms which were
Yes.
generally not used for education, but now during this pandemic, we made use of it.
Yes.
So whether these may be qualified to be called as an ICT tool, or else is there any specific definition of it?
Okay.
By
That's
which we
fine.
need to identify?
Yes, sir. That is again a very nice question, Dr. Mahendra Babu, sir, because the term information and communication technologies is actually much more than all these computers. Many people think that it is all only related to computers, laptops, networks, and other things. But you see, the socio-political, economic, cultural, right aspects of all these things come under the definition. I request you to just search parallelly the UNESCO's definition on ICT, UNESCO 2010 definition of ICT. It will say it is only in the fifth line the word computer will come. Otherwise, it is all the information processing, handling, sharing. Right? Any tool that comes into these works can come under the broad term of ICTs, information. That is why earlier it was singularly used, information and communication technology. Now it is used largely in plural, information and communication technologies, because audio technologies are, video technologies are, data technologies are, web technologies are there, satellite technologies are there, and plenty other technologies are involved in it. So we have started using the term in plurals, right? So it is an all-encompassing term, sir. Any technology which you integrate into information sharing, processing, dissemination, right, or even processing data, right, to make them information, that also will come in. And another thing that I want to tell you, Dr. Mahendra Prabhu, is that no technology was ever developed keeping in mind that a teacher would use or a learner would use. For instance, earlier, the radio, when it was introduced, it was a tool meant for information. Okay, first thing, the purpose of radio was to inform. The second one was to educate. So some agriculture education programs will come, right? Okay, so something like Vayalum Valvum, like that. Some it was meant for information. Primary thing was to inform, then to educate, then finally to entertain. Okay, these were the three things. It was a mass information and mass educational and mass entertainment platform. And later we had educational programs related to school children, college children. Now we have dedicated radio channels like Nyan Vani FM for exclusive FM channels for education. And we have campus-based community radios. That's called what we institution-based community radio channels for taking the teachers' lectures inside the campus to outside the campus. Anybody can listen. For instance, if you as a professor of law, right, at TNNLU, is delivering a lecture on Constitution of India or fundamental rights or fundamental duties, why not the people in Trichy listen to that? At least some 23 kilometers, 25 kilometers radius. If you have a campus-based community radio, it will live go to the people around. So they will also learn and get benefited, though they may not write an examination. So that is how campus-based community radios are also coming. So that way, our radio or television or video or mobile or any of these technologies, they were never developed, they were never invented, right, keeping in mind that it would be used for teaching learning. But all these things we have roped in, right, and started using. That's how it is now a kind of a melting pot of technologies where we pick up anything and use it for our convenience, right? So that's how it is.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Yes.
Thank you, Mahendra Prabhu sir. Thank you, sir. Any other questions? Dear participants, if you're having any query, please raise your queries. If no more queries, then I invite Ms. Santi Samantha, Assistant Professor of Law, Tamil Nadu National University, to propose the vote of thanks. Over to you, ma'am.
Thank you so much, Nirmal sir. Good evening, everyone. I'm so happy that I got this opportunity to propose the vote of thanks, especially this particular lecture. I felt so energetic, and the first thing what I learned from Professor is that how to keep a bunch of audience listening to you at a stretch for more than 2 hours. That is not a simple thing, I would say. Very big thanks and hearty congratulations, Professor. Very nice and very, very informative, very, very interesting lectures. Though I would say that I'm like, I'm not the now, I'm not the native, I'm not the immigrant, I'm somewhere in between. I found many information very, very new, and I am very sure that immediately after I leave this meeting, I'm just go and check few of those, whichever you discussed here right now. Thank you so much, Professor. And I thank the FIP team here for giving me this wonderful opportunity to propose this vote of thanks. I thank the whole participants, every participants from TNNLU and from other universities for taking a time and listening to our guest speaker. Thank you so much. Once again, thank you all. Thank you, Professor. Have a great evening. Bye-bye.
Yeah, pleasure is mine, Dr. Shanti. That the best way to thank me is to do something with these things this evening, because after a couple of days it will just go up, right? Okay, you should do something. I'm very happy that you are planning to do it. Thank you very much, every one of you.
Yes, thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
Thanks.
Tomorrow the session will start at 10 o'clock. So the FIP committee of Tamil Nadu National University request all the participants to join tomorrow's session at 9:45 a.m.
Yes, please fill today's Google form without fail. Already it was shared. Then material also was shared in the mail. So please use it. Thank you, participants.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Yes, good evening, one and all. Felix sir, Nirmal sir, Felix sir.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So please coordinate with
IT section or Felix, sir?
IT team, sir. IT team.
IT team.
We have to ask them to stop recording, sir.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Sir, do we have to share any report to our VC ma'am today's session, sir? Or can we share it tomorrow morning? What you two think? Felix sir and Nirmal sir. Any of Agila ma'am since
We can send a mail stating that today's session went on successful.
Yes, sir. Yes, yes.
Just an information, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Any other thing to be discussed, sir? Felix sir?
Yes, sir. Please wait, sir.
Yes, sir. Okay, we will leave the session, then we will discuss.
Yes, sir. I'll call you over phone, sir.
Good, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Felix, sir,
Thank
please
you,
inform the
Nirmal,
IT
sir.
section
Thank
to
you,
end the session.
Yeah, sure, sir.
Yes.
Sir, ask them to stop recording and end the session, sir. Please, sir.